Princess Kavrin of Velthara stood in the crystal chamber, her tall, lithe form outlined against the endless stars visible through the palace's transparent walls. The council had summoned her, insisting she meet the human envoy who had arrived in the sector. She had refused, of course. Humans were noisy, unpredictable creatures who relied on emotion over reason. They were primitive, irrational, and dangerous in ways her kind did not understand. Her people had prospered for thousands of cycles because they followed logic above all. Why risk a foolish race meddling in their affairs? Princess Kavrin, a voice echoed in the chamber. It was calm but firm, carrying the weight of authority she could not ignore. You must attend the diplomatic meeting. It is a matter of interstellar peace. Kavrin turned to the counselor who had spoken, her eyes as sharp as shards of ice. I will not bow to a race that still wages war with its neighbors, that cannot even govern itself without constant conflict, she said. Her voice echoed through the high ceilings, precise and unyielding. Send a representative. I will not waste my time on this charade. The counselor inclined his head. Your Highness, the human fleet has already docked at the Unity Ark. The envoy has requested to meet you personally. They are not here to fight. They are here to propose an alliance, one that may benefit Velthara greatly. Kavrin's gaze did not waver. She had heard tales of humans before. Intercepted communications describing their reckless bravery, their curiosity that bordered on insanity, and their strange ability to survive situations that would destroy any Veltharan. They were daring, yes, but that was hardly a virtue in a species that still fought with physical weapons and made decisions based on fleeting emotions. An alliance with chaos is not an alliance at all, she replied. And yet, the council insisted, and Kavrin was bound by duty to attend. When she arrived at the Unity Ark, she was greeted with a display of colors and lights that would have unsettled most Veltharans. Humans decorated their vessel with patterns and symbols that were chaotic, but somehow purposeful. It smelled of warm metal and faintly of spices, something Kavrin had never encountered before in her sterile world of precision and order. The human who awaited her was Commander Elias Ward. He was tall, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to see beyond the surface of things. He stood with a confidence that did not demand obedience but commanded respect. Kavrin noted immediately that he was not afraid of her, nor did he seem intimidated by her title or appearance. That in itself was unusual. Most beings bowed or lowered their gaze in her presence. Elias did not, Princess Kavrin, he said, bowing slightly but smiling warmly. It is an honor to meet you. Kavrin inclined her head formally, keeping her expression neutral. Commander Ward, she replied. I have little patience for pleasantries. Let us proceed to the matter at hand. The meeting began in tense silence. The humans proposed a joint exploration of nearby systems rich in resources and knowledge. They offered to share technology and information, promising benefits for both Velthara and Earth. Kavrin listened, her mind racing through calculations, probabilities, and outcomes. Everything about the proposal was risky. Humans were unpredictable. They could not be relied upon to act in the same disciplined manner as Veltharans. Yet as the discussion continued, Kavrin could not ignore the way Elias spoke. He was passionate, yes, but also precise when it mattered. He anticipated objections and addressed them with careful reasoning, blending logic with emotion in a way that was strange but effective. He did not rely on fear or intimidation. He relied on courage, ingenuity, and a willingness to face danger head-on. During a tense moment when rival alien delegations threatened to sabotage the meeting, Elias stepped forward unarmed. He raised his hands and spoke calmly, asserting that violence would benefit no one and that compromise was possible. His words carried a conviction that silenced the room. Kavrin watched as his presence alone shifted the energy of the chamber. For the first time, she felt something stir within her, a mixture of respect and curiosity. The summit concluded without conflict, and Kavrin returned to her palace. She thought about Elias constantly. He was nothing like her people, yet there was a strength in him that she could not deny. He made choices that defied prediction, yet they were effective. He risked himself for others, not out of duty but out of a sense of morality and bravery that seemed almost alien in its purity. Kavrin walked through the gardens of her palace, the light of distant stars reflecting off the crystalline plants. She had always valued logic above all, but now she questioned whether her understanding of strength had been too narrow. Humans were messy, chaotic, and sometimes reckless, but they were also capable of acts that her kind could not fully comprehend. Elias Ward had shown her that courage could exist without perfection, that action born of emotion could still achieve incredible outcomes. In the following days, Kavrin observed the humans discreetly. She watched them interact, laughed at their informal ways, marveled at their resilience, and even found herself drawn to the warmth they carried in their presence. She realized that her heart, long ruled by protocol and reason, had begun to respond in ways she did not yet understand. And then came the test. A minor crisis erupted in one of Velthara's outer colonies, a situation that threatened both humans and Veltharans. Protocol dictated caution, but Elias did not hesitate. He organized a daring rescue mission, leading humans into dangerous territory without waiting for reinforcements. Kavrin followed the reports anxiously. The humans succeeded, saving countless lives through ingenuity and sheer determination. Kavrin felt something she had never felt before: admiration, awe, and an uncomfortable pull toward the human who had made it all possible. She could not explain why she thought of him constantly, why she found herself hoping for his safety, why his courage had stirred something deep within her. By the time the reports concluded, Kavrin knew that her initial refusal, her insistence on keeping humans at a distance, had been wrong. She could not deny the effect Elias had on her mind, her calculations, even her heart. He had proven that humanity, despite its chaos and imperfection, could be a force for incredible good, capable of heroism that logic alone could not predict. That night, Kavrin stood at the balcony of her palace, staring at the distant human fleet. She did not yet know what the future held, nor did she fully understand the feelings stirring within her. All she knew was that the human who had walked boldly into her chamber and faced the impossible had changed something fundamental within her. Something she could not ignore, no matter how much she tried. And so, Princess Kavrin, who had once said no, found herself asking the first question she had never thought to ask. What if humanity was not a threat at all, but the very force that could awaken her own heart? The stars above Velthara burned brightly, indifferent to the turmoil that suddenly descended upon the Empire. Princess Kavrin had barely begun to process her fascination with the human, Elias Ward, when alarms blared through the palace. The central command screens lit up with red warnings. An unknown fleet had entered Velthara space, moving with precision and deadly intent. Kavrin's mind raced. The intruders were unlike anything she had ever encountered. Their ships were sleek, dark, and silent, almost as if they were shadows given form. Her advisors whispered of sabotage, of rogue fleets, of artificial intelligences gone rogue. Yet the truth was simpler and terrifying. The Empire's own abandoned experiments had returned, programmed to attack all life indiscriminately. She felt a tight knot in her chest, a rare sensation for someone so trained in composure. For all her years of strategy and calculation, this was chaos incarnate, and Velthara's defenses faltered. Every standard maneuver failed against the enemy's unpredictable assaults. Ships that should have been invincible were destroyed within moments. Panic rippled through the command floor, and for the first time, Kavrin questioned whether her people could survive this trial. Then she remembered the human, Elias Ward, the man who had defied protocol and stared danger in the face during the summit, the one who had proven that courage and cleverness could triumph where logic alone faltered. Without hesitation, Kavrin activated the comlink. "Commander Ward, you must assist us immediately. Velthara is under attack." Elias's voice crackled over the channel, calm but urgent. "Princess, I'm on my way. Keep your fleet steady. I'll handle the rest," her advisors muttered in disbelief. They warned against relying on a human. They feared his impulsiveness, his lack of Veltharan discipline. Kavrin ignored them. She had seen what he could do, and she knew instinctively that no one else could meet this threat. Within hours, Elias arrived with a fleet of human ships. Unlike Velthara's elegant, predictable vessels, his ships were compact, rugged, and bristling with unconventional weaponry. His tactics were strange, almost chaotic by Veltharan standards, yet they were effective. He coordinated daring maneuvers that baffled the rogue fleet, striking precisely at their weak points while minimizing casualties among Veltharan forces. Kavrin watched from the command balcony as Elias piloted the lead ship himself, weaving between explosions and debris. The human did not hesitate. When a massive enemy vessel turned to fire upon him, he dove straight into its path, deploying a device that disrupted its systems. The enemy ship convulsed, its weapons failing, and drifted harmlessly into space. Kavrin felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had observed many battles, analyzed countless strategies, yet she had never seen bravery like this. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but they were also capable of acts of courage that no Veltharan mind could simulate. She realized then that her admiration had grown into something deeper, something personal she had never allowed herself to feel. The battle raged for hours. Veltharan forces were pushed to their limits, yet under Elias's leadership they held. Kavrin relayed commands, adjusting their formations to match his innovative tactics. She felt alive in a way she had never known, her heart pounding with fear, hope, and something entirely unfamiliar: trust. During a particularly dangerous maneuver, Elias's ship was struck by a massive blast. Alarm screamed across the human fleet. Kavrin's stomach twisted as she watched him drift helplessly, systems failing. Without thinking, she activated her personal shuttle and raced toward him, ignoring the objections of her advisors. She found him floating in the debris field, his ship damaged but intact. He smiled weakly as she approached. "Princess," he said, his voice strained but calm, "you didn't need to risk yourself." "I couldn't stay behind," Kavrin replied, her voice trembling. "Not when you—" She paused, struggling to articulate the storm of emotions in her chest. "Not when you are." "You." Elias reached out and she grasped his hand. Together, they piloted the damaged ship back to the fleet, navigating through enemy fire with skill and precision. When they returned, Velthara's forces launched a final coordinated assault inspired by Elias's strategies. The rogue fleet was defeated, its ships either destroyed or disabled. The victory was celebrated across Velthara, yet Kavrin felt no relief until she saw Elias safely on the landing platform. Her legs felt unsteady as she hurried toward him. He turned to her, still smiling, though fatigue etched his features. "You saved my people," she said, her voice barely more than a whisper. "You saved us all. And you risked everything." Elias shook his head. "No, Princess. We saved each other. I only did what had to be done. You led your people bravely, even when the odds were against us. You didn't hesitate when it mattered most." Kavrin's eyes softened. She had long hidden behind logic, behind duty and reason. But now she could not deny the truth. Her heart had shifted. The human before her, so different from her kind, had shown her a courage and warmth that resonated within her. For the first time, she spoke words she had never allowed herself to say aloud. "Elias, I was wrong about humans. You are not chaos. You are the reason the stars feel alive." Elias's eyes widened and then he laughed softly, the sound warm and comforting. "Does that mean—" "Yes," Kavrin said, her voice steady despite the tumult in her chest. "Yes, I see now. I believe in you, in us." In the days following the battle, the alliance between Velthara and humanity grew stronger than anyone could have predicted. Kavrin and Elias worked side by side, coordinating fleets, establishing trade routes, and exploring uncharted systems. Every encounter tested their ingenuity and courage, and every challenge brought them closer. The princess learned to admire not just Elias, but humanity as a whole, their resilience, their empathy, and their ability to act boldly in the face of fear. And Elias, in turn, came to respect the discipline, wisdom, and determination that Kavrin and her people embodied. Together they formed a bond that transcended species, politics, and the vast distances of space. One quiet evening, as they watched distant suns rise over the crystalline towers of Velthara, Kavrin rested her hand on Elias's. "I never thought I could feel this way," she admitted. "I never thought someone like you could change everything I believed." Elias smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "Sometimes it takes someone completely different to show us who we really are." "You've taught me much as well, Princess, about courage, about wisdom, and about the heart." The stars stretched endlessly above them, a reminder of the infinite possibilities that awaited. Kavrin realized that humanity, once dismissed as chaotic and unpredictable, was a force not just to be reckoned with, but to be celebrated. And the human who had dared to meet her on equal footing had awakened something within her that would never fade. As she gazed into the night sky, she felt hope, strength, and love intertwine. She knew challenges would come again, as they always did, but she also knew that together, humans and Veltharans could face anything. And with Elias by her side, she was ready to embrace not just the unknown, but the extraordinary future they would build together. The galaxy was vast, full of mystery and danger, but also full of courage, compassion, and the enduring spirit of humanity. Kavrin smiled, her heart finally answering the question she had once thought impossible. Yes, humanity, and the human who had changed everything, was worth believing in. And in that answer, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if the universe itself celebrated the bond between a princess and the human who had shown her the true meaning of bravery and love.